Hello everyone, Teacher Skyla here with SkylaSposts.com, and on this channel you'll find videos all about making an income from home and how to be healthy while doing it. In this video, this is one of our health related videos. It is all about sleep. Yes, sleep. Who works from home and does not sleep enough? Oh. Me. This is something that I'm working on, but when I implement these tips on a regular basis, I sleep better, I fall asleep faster, and all of those things. So I have 4 tips for you guys, 4 tips for online teachers, or if you are working from home, tips for you to get more sleep. If you have not yet, I would love for you to take a moment to like this video and subscribe to my channel. If you hit that bell notification as well, you'll get notified when I have more wellness videos coming out, as well as information about teaching or working from home. So, yes. Let's get started. One thing I will add is that I am the queen of having a hard time with sleep. I have struggled with it my entire life, but like I mentioned, these are things that I've been able to incorporate that have really made a difference for me and have really helped a lot. So I hope that you find them helpful as well. And the very first tip actually needs to start before bedtime. Before bedtime even arrives, if you are eating well throughout the day and moving throughout the day, you will sleep better. I can attest to this strongly. Just very briefly, I'll tell you a little bit about my health and wellness journey. And part of that is the fact that I had 5 children in 5 years. Yep, all girls. I have a set of twins in there, but right now in December of 2020, my children are 7, 6, 4, 4, and 2. Okay. So I have been for the past several years trying to have better health in between having children and things like that. But I made some major changes, and I'll continue talking about that in future videos about my health and wellness journey. I made some major changes in my lifestyle after my 5th baby was born. She's 2.5 right now. And when I incorporated better nutrition and I started moving more, I couldn't believe how much better I slept. It just blew my mind when I really focused on moving my body consistently, and when I really focused on getting nutrients in my body that my body needed. And when I actively do that, I fall asleep quickly and I sleep well. And that was huge for me. Again, I'll talk more about that later as we continue this journey together, but I just can't tell you enough the difference that very first tip can make. When we are eating well and moving, we sleep better. I promise you. Give it a try. If you're already doing it, you learned it faster than me. I'm so happy. I'm so happy you learned it faster than I did. The second tip I have for you is no electronics right before bed. Now, I cannot always do this if I am working late nights. So I do this as often as possible, but in my life, it's not something I can do every day, but it makes a big difference. So if you can avoid any bright lights or electronics, TV, computer, tablet, phone, immediately before bed, you will fall asleep faster. I promise you, you will fall asleep faster. Now, like I said, it's not something that everyone can do every day. If you are, for example, teaching really late and then trying to go to bed right after, you may find it a little harder to fall asleep those days. But something you can do is read with a low light on, do something calming, like yoga or meditation or anything like that. Or this is so funny, when I was in college, I had a counselor tell me to do something boring. If you're laying in bed or you're trying to go to bed and you cannot sleep and you've already avoided electronics, one thing that they suggested to me is to read the back of the refrigerator, the instructions on the back of the refrigerator, which I thought was really funny because most of the time our refrigerators are pushed up against the wall and you can't like pull it out and read it. But he was trying to give me an example of something really boring to make you tired. So I always remember that when I think about no electronics before bed, read or do something calm, or as this counselor suggested to me, do something boring. It really hit home. It really hit home. So tip number 2, if you can, no electronics before bed, read or do something calm, or do something really boring. But when you do that, you can't turn all the lights on. Keep the lights really dim and dark and do something boring or calm before bed. Tip number 3, this one is so good. I love this. Write any last thoughts or lists down to clear your head. Now, this one is huge for me, and I think for a lot of people, because we lay down and then we start thinking all of these random things and our minds start going wild and you're worried about just crazy, ridiculous things, or you're worried about forgetting something. That's me. I'm like, oh, I have to do this tomorrow. I don't want to forget. I have to do this tomorrow. I don't want to forget. I was so worried about forgetting something that I couldn't sleep. I couldn't calm my mind down. But if I just grabbed a piece of paper, a notebook, a journal, anything, if I kept it on a nightstand by my bed and I write it all down, or I wrote it all down, it helped. It made a big difference because I'm not going to forget it because I just wrote it on a piece of paper, right? So that's a big one. Write it all down. Write all the thoughts down. Another side note that could go with that, if you use a program like Asana, it's like an online to-do list. I actually write my thoughts down throughout the day, and then I'll sit down and assign dates to my to-do lists or thoughts or brain dump. And then when I actually lay down to go to bed, I don't have as much in my head that I need to write down to then fall asleep. So if you have questions about Asana, ask me below or email me at skylessposts@gmail.com and I can send you some information on that. But that's something that I've been doing. So originally I wrote everything down right before bed. Now I have somewhere that I write things down throughout the day so that when I do lay down, I don't have as many things in my head to then put on paper before I go to sleep. So that's kind of tip 3.5. So tip 3, write lists down or thoughts down right before you go to bed if your mind is going and going and going. And then tip 3.5 is find a way or program to write those thoughts down throughout the day so that you have less to write down at night. Tip number 4, bed is for sleeping and no work. This is something that I learned in college, and this is something that I still do today. For example, when I was in college, I would go to the library and do homework, and then I'd go to all my classes, and then I worked on campus, and then I'd go back to the library and do more work until the library closed, and then I would go home and I would do homework on my bed. And guess what? I could not sleep. I could not calm my mind down because my body didn't associate my bed with sleep. So what I started doing was I did my homework at my desk. I don't know why I sat on my bed versus my desk, but I sat at my desk instead, or I'd sit at the table or something like that. So if you work from home and you are using a computer all the time, or you are making phone calls, if you are doing them in your bed any time of the day, your body's not associating your bed with sleep. But if you do all of your reading and all of your work other places, and you lay down when you're ready to sleep, your body will start associating your bed with sleep, and it will trigger your mind. Oh, it's time to sleep now. It's time to sleep now. So these are things that I am incorporating currently. I've been incorporating them for years. They are really helping me. I am still always trying to rearrange my schedule to allow myself more opportunities for sleep. I am the queen of not sleeping enough, but when I incorporate all of these tips, I sleep well. So even though I should sleep a little more than I do, and I'll tell you, I'm still working on it. When I sleep well. And when my head hits the pillow, I am asleep. You can ask my husband and he will tell you, oh my word, she's out. And it did not used to be that way. It did not. Not until I started incorporating these things. I try to eat well and move throughout the day. I do my best on the days I can to avoid electronics before bed, or I'll do something calming, relaxing, or boring before bed. I'll write any thoughts down that I cannot get out of my head. I'll write them down. And I make sure that any work that I'm doing, any reading that I'm doing, anything that I'm doing, it is somewhere else so that my body associates my bed with sleep. I hope that you found this helpful. If you have more tips for me or for other online teachers or people who work from home, share them below. I'd love, love, love to hear what you do to help you sleep better. If you have any questions, you can always email me at skylessposts@gmail.com, or you can comment below.